And thank you for joining this session. Today my colleague Gennaro Pangari and me will present a session on Macrodynamics Connector SDK. We will go through a session in an introduction to Dynamics Connector architecture, SDK connector concept, and finally a live demo that will show how to build a custom connector adapter CRM that integrates an account with nodes and attachment. Here basically is an integration concept that basically show how to basically is a main architecture of the connector. Basically is an MSDI database that is storing all the main information of the connector that integrate information from the ERP system and the CRM system. The adapter concept basically is based on three main concepts. The adapter settings, that is a family of DLL designed to interact with a specific system stored in an installation adapter folder, provides the endpoint between the system installation to be integrated. It is a standard out-of-the-box adapter providing integration for CRM, Navision, AX, and GP, that is the ERP systems. The SDK lets you build a custom adapter to extend the out-of-the-box integration, and the adapter settings are saved in the MSDI database. The object provider provides a schema of each object on both sides, e.g. For example, entities on the CRM side, objects on the Navision side. A separate XML file is generated for each object while configuring the adapters, stored in the installation adapters folders. Maps are basically the link between two objects, source and the destination object. It lets you create the mapping between the source and the target attribute fields stored in the MSDI database as XML columns. Source and target endpoint definition. It's a collection of attributes that describe the specific endpoint related to the application we want to integrate. For example, for CRM out-of-the-box adapter, we need the following: the discovery service URL, the username, and the password. But basically, this is depending on the endpoint that we want to integrate. The ATL defines the data integrated from one system to another, so we need at least two endpoints. And the verse of the map is defined who is the source and who is the target. The convention, basically, we call the two endpoints source and target. The object provider XML definition. When we run the configuration adapter, an object provider file is created on the file system to host the metadata schema definition for the selected entity. For example, for the CRM out-of-the-box adapter and the account entity, for example, it looks like the following. As you can see, the highlighted line, we have all the information that describes the attribute. That is the metadata attribute name, for example, the account number, the type definition, that is the system string, that is the how is defined in the metadata schema, and the display name that we will see in the map. Each line describes any kind of attribute. And in the object provider file, we will be used as the source, so it will be called as the object provider reader. In the object provider file will be used as the target, it will be called as the object provider writer. The map XML definition. Each map is an XML definition of the union of map definition, that is the mapping of the source attribute with the target attribute. Write builder is the target object provider XML definition, that is the writer file. Read builder is the source object provider XML definition reader file. The task is the task definition for the map. The filters is the filters collection applied on the maps. As you can see in the picture, basically is the union of what we saw before, so is the object provider XML that is the object provider file. here comes a useful query that you can run on against the MSDI database related to the version number 3 of the connector to get the XML definition that is stored in the database. For example, when we create a map, the object provider file related to the source and the target is stored in the database, and the map, that is the XML definition, is also stored in the database. All the XML definitions stored in the database can be get from the database by running this query. It's really useful when, for example, you can see your attribute coming out from the map, but you can see them on the file system. About the SDK connector concept. The installation, how it works. Basically, the requirement for the custom adapter to be recognized. The custom adapter class declaration must contain the attribute adapter. Name of your adapter must match the namespace of the adapter. Must implement the iSettings extender interface in your adapter. Where to install the custom adapter? You need to navigate to adapter folder. The default path on the x64 system is under the x86 under program files folder. Create a folder that has the same name as the namespace of your adapter. Copy your build adapter DLL into this folder. Be sure to unlock all the DLLs. API references. Develop the adapter settings. Override the initialize settings method. Create field definition for any parameter needed to configure the endpoint. Develop the object provider for source. Implement the iObjectReader interface. 3 methods: read deleted object keys, read object keys, and read object. Develop the object provider for target. Implement the iObjectWriter interface. 3 methods: write object, and delete object. Note that in case of you need to build an object provider that implements both iObjectReader and iObjectWriter, you need to refer to the mixed object provider. We have some Visual Studio template to help you to create your adapter. And also you have some namespace to add to your project, that is microdynamics.integration.aal and microdynamics.integration.common. Now we will have a demo that will show how to build a custom adapter which integrates a CRM on-premise, transferring account with nodes and attachment.
Good afternoon, this is Gennaro Tangari. So first of all, let me thank you all for having joined this meeting. Now I will show you how to create a custom adapter for the CRM. Hello, it seems that we have a problem with sharing the monitor.
Adesso riesce.
Hello? Hello, do you hear me?
Sì, sentiamo.
Okay, so thanks everybody for. I'm sorry for the little issue we had with the connection. So what we are going to do now is to show you how to build a custom adapter for connecting the CRM to the CRM. And in particular, what we want to do now is to show you how to transfer an account with note and attachment from one CRM organization to another CRM organization. So this is what we are going to do now. So first of all, what we have to do is to start with Visual Studio 2010 and to create a new project of this kind. Let me show you. The project. So from the template, please choose Microsoft Dynamics Adapter and then choose Microsoft Dynamics Adapter again. In order to make the attempt more consistent, what we have done is to create a single adapter with two endpoints. And in particular, the strategy we had was to create an abstract class which inherits the adapter and the iSettings extender. And of course, just to be sure that all the resources are disposed, we implemented also the iDisposable interface. So when you want to create an adapter, you extend the iSettings extender, you have to implement some methods. And first of all, what you have to do is to design the form of the adapter used by the connector graphical user interface program. And particularly, this can be done using the initialized settings. Let me show you. Particularly, if you expand it, the method, you can see all the settings defined here. You can define the settings as settings value. You choose the kind and field definition, for example, if you want to implement a text field, and you can provide a display name, the name recognized internally by the CRM connector. You can specify if the field is required or not, and you can specify the kind of data to be contained. And in particular, here you can see that we are going to create a string settings. You can define the out-of-the-box value, and then you can add it to the list of the settings. To implement a CRM connector, what we need to do is to have the organization URL, the WCF. We need to have the organization name, the username, and the password to be connected with the CRM. And all that stuff is defined into this into this method. After that, we have some other methods, and in particular, we have the get settings value list. This is used in particular when you want to create a drop-down list of parameters. For example, when you see our CRM adapter and getting connected with the discovery service, you can retrieve the list of the organization in your deployment, and you can put all the organization in a drop-down list. If you want to do something like this, what you have to do now is to create a list of name string value pair and add a new name string value pair composed by name and value. Doing this will add the value into the drop-down list. To specify the true endpoint of the adapter, I specialized the abstract class into two classes, and in particular the one called GT Demo Adapter Source, used for source environment, and this one used as for the destination environment. To create an adapter, you have to put this kind of string before the definition of the class, in which you specify the adapter ID as a GUID and the display name of the adapter. I did it twice for the source and destination adapter. The two ID differs for the last number. You see 8 and 9. Okay. So say that when you create this kind of classes, you have the interface from which you can configure the two adapters, and I will show you. This is the connector. And when you choose the adapter settings, this is our out-of-the-box CRM adapter. And here you see mine, the source, and the destination. Okay? And here we specify the value for the settings we created in Visual Studio. Now, you have a project, you can compile it, but how to test it? Okay. So far, what you have to do after compiling the DLL is to deploy the DLL into this folder. Particularly, you have to go into Microsoft Dynamics adapters, and then you have to create a folder with the same namespace of the DLL you created before. After creating the folder, you can put into the folder all the stuff you compiled here. Let me show you. In the back. Copy all the stuff from this directory to this one, and the game is done. Before to do it, you have to be sure that the service of the connector is stopped and that the connector itself is closed. Otherwise, you won't be able to make your DLL recognized from the platform. Okay? After having done this, and you start again the service and the GUI application, you can see your adapter here into the MSDI database. I'll show you. And here we are. We have the two lines for the two adapters. Okay, so we have the adapter, but we want to use the data, of course. And to do this, what we have to do is to create a new class for the object provider. Let me show you. So what you have to do is to implement to create a new class and add it to your project. And this class, this one, should implement a couple of interfaces. The first one is the iObject reader, and the second one is the iObject writer. Of course, also the class should inherit from the object provider root class. What we can do is to, while implementing the iObject provider, in this section of the interface, you will implement all the methods required to read data from the source platform, and for the iObject writer, we will implement all the method used to write the data into the target environment. Now, some little hints. To get connected with the CRM, we must, usually what we do is to connect to the web service of the CRM, or to use the proxy class, or to add the library directly into your project. So what we have done in this case is to add into the references of the CRM SDK. Okay. And we implemented the logic to get connected with the CRM directly into the adapter. And in particular, we created a method called getOrganizationService, in which what we do is to be sure that we have one instance of the proxy service connection to the CRM, in which and for the first time the adapter is started, we will configure all the information to get connected to the CRM. As you can see here, we implemented Windows credential, the client credential, as creating an instance of the network credential. And here we take let me show you, we will take the information from the configuration. And in particular, you can access the configuration of the adapter using the settings object. To get the settings, what you have to do is to call the settings, and within the branch, simply specify the name of the settings. The name of the settings is the one we previously configured into the initialize settings method. In particular, let's see here. Okay, so let's turn back to the object provider. Now, what's our scope? What we want to do now is to read an account and the annotation from the source environment and write it into the target environment. How to do this? What we have done is to, in particular, to implement these two methods required. Okay. The first one is called read object keys. We have a parameter, and is the datetime. It's a data. This parameter is used to filter the data read from the database, from the CRM. We can use it for taking, for example, accounts created after the specific date you will see here. It's a check data modified after. This is the value we can get here. Okay. So what we have done here is to create, using the CRM SDK, we create a query expression. We retrieved all the information, choosing all the columns set for the accounts, and then, thanks to the method getOrganizationService seen before, we perform a require multiple query to retrieve all the accounts. After that, we perform with for each cycle. What we do is to retrieve all the data and store it in an instance of a class called myAccount. Now, let me add some information. When you create a map into the connector, let me show you, and in particular this one, you see here that we have some fields. Okay, but how these fields are created here? In particular, this field we see into the map are created when you, into the constructor of the object provider, you define what kind of class you want to use. What I've done is to create a custom class called myAccount, in which I put an entity and a list of entities for the nodes. When I define here the object definition and specify to use the object definition of myAccount, I tell the connector to show here the structure of the class I want to use for the integration. So when you go to read the data, what we do is to take all the accounts modified after a specific date, and for all these accounts we go to the CRM again, and with another query expression we get all the annotation. And what we do is to cycle on the entity, on the nodes, and add the nodes to the previously list. When the execution of this method is completed, we have in memory all the information we want to transfer. We have another interesting method required when we implement the iObject reader, and in particular, the method we need is the read object. We have two options. What we can do is to retrieve the key in this method and then perform a specific key each time here to get all the attached data. In this case, to make the scenario more easy, what we have done is to retrieve all the data we need directly here, and in this case, instead of performing a new query to the CRM, we preferred to return directly each time a member of the list we created in this method. So when the synchronization starts, this method is called, all the information are retrieved here, and for each and every time the information is processed, the CRM adapter calls this method to retrieve the specific entity you want, the specific record you want to integrate. So this is about the reading process, but we want also to write the information. And to do this, we have to implement the interface of iObject Writer. It's pretty similar. We have almost the most important method are the write object and the write object. The first one is the write object method. It's very simple, and what it does is take each time the object returned by this function and write it into the target platform. In particular, what we do into the write object is to get the account from our custom class. We create a new entity. We create the annotation. In this case, for example, we write only one annotation. And after creating in memory these two entities, we call again the CRM service to create the new entity. First of all, we create the account, and then we write also the annotation. And the game is done. I did not describe that in both the case, both the method implemented should be implemented to for the two interface. There is one more method called read delete object keys. In particular, in this method, what we do is to retrieve the object which should be deleted. Okay, say that. Let's see how it works. Let's open the CRM. This is source CRM, and I created a new account. This one is my full name. As an example, I put the phone number, and I added a note. In particular, I created an attachment. It's an RTF file, very simple, which contains a simple text. And here is the target environment. Okay, does not contain any data. Let's turn back to the connector. Maximize it. I created a map, and when you create a map, you should map the object, of course. And after mapping the object, what we can do is simply click on Activate, Save, and the integration starts. Particularly, this map starts every 5 minutes. Let's see it. Then we can deactivate it, try to run it every 1 minute in order to proceed much faster, and activate and save. This is the fun of direct Unleash meeting. It failed. Why? Let's see the log. seems that maybe having us something. Okay, let me delete it. So, start up again. And this time, the information has been written. Let's jump back to the CRM and see the account has been written. Let's open it. This is the information created before. Let's see the notes. And here we are, the notes. Try to open it. And here we are. We have the notes. So, of course, this is not intended to be used in a production scenario, but our intention was to show you how you can create your custom adapter for the CRM to increase the functionalities of the out-of-the-box products. Because we know that sometimes customer needs, the needs of the customer cannot be handled by the out-of-the-box adapter, and you want to use more functionalities, or you want to implement some different logic. And this is a way in which you can do it. Okay, to have some references about what we have seen today, you can have a look at these references, in particular to the blog of the Dynamics, to the customer source portal. We can also suggest to have a look into the guideline. And just in case you want, you can contact us, also us directly, writing an email or whatever you want. So, thank you all. Hi all. So I forgot to mention, if you have any question, you can make directly to me, or if you prefer, you can send by using the question and answer. We will reply to all your questions. Thanks in advance.
Not yet. I've been working with Alessandro, my case and FS where I gather the treatment information. We haven't created the
Ci sono altre domande?